the request to the Brooklyn Posse.
Hello and welcome to the Fitz and Healthy podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lauren Fitz, and I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, Cinthanie McAllister from Cinthanie.com. What's up, girl?
Hey, girl. Hey. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. I know. It's crazy. I can't believe that this time of year is here. By the time this episode is released, I will have been in California for exactly a year. Kind of crazy.
Crazy.
I know.
It's gone by really fast.
It's gone by so fast.
Especially because it was just after you moved to California that we started talking about this, throwing around the idea of having a podcast.
Yes, you're right. I remember because it was right before we met at that event that I had even thrown that idea out when I was living in the farm, the Guthrie, Oklahoma. Wasn't that the first time that I threw out that idea?
No, you were settled into, I think
California.
You just moved maybe 2 weeks ago. It was sometime in January that we started kind of throwing around the idea.
Crazy.
And then in February was when we really decided to go for it. So
I love it. And here we are.
Is almost a year too.
We need to celebrate. So today's episode, you want to tell the listeners what today's episode is about before we get to the iTunes review of the week?
Yeah, today's episode is about how to live every day like it's a holiday.
And we
love holidays, right?
We love holidays, but there are so many things that we think that could change your life, not just during the holidays.
Yeah.
But we also
learn from the holidays.
Exactly. But also we want to give credit to the people that subscribe to our channel, that take the time to leave a review. You guys, literally, I go and I check and we are so searchable now because you guys have taken the time to leave a review. And the more reviews that you leave, the more searchable we are. But we just want to give a shout out to all of the people. And we love reading the reviews. They almost always give me chills. I'm not going to lie. So
every time I read one,
I know.
That gave me chills.
So who is our review of the week from this week?
Okay. So our review of the week this week is a 5-star review and it says absolute best. This is from Kristen Nicole. She says, Fitz and Healthy was my very first podcast to ever listen to. After the first one, I was hooked. I start my day every day listening to these two ladies on my way to the gym or to bar, and that's bar class.
Right. Not the bar.
Yeah. Motivational, informative, funny, and uplifting. I love following them on social media as well.
Oh, shout out to Kristen Nicole. Excellent. I may or may not have chills. I'm just saying. So we, one thing that connecting what she said to what we're talking about is the fact we want to bring laughter. We want to bring smiles. We want to bring positivity to people's lives because I think that that's what's missing in so many people's lives. And, any person that follows us on social media knows that we're very much anti-negativity. And does that mean that we're perfect all the time? No, you guys, we're human just like you guys. I put my pants on just the same.
Yes.
And I never want people to think that I feel like I'm perfect because I am just trying to be on the same mission that I want every single person listening to be just better every day,
We both are going through a process and our journey, and we're just essentially documenting it through this podcast.
Exactly. And, the more people that we can inspire to get on that same journey, the better. Mm-hmm. Okay. Cinthanie, how can I live every day like it's a holiday?
Well, we have some points to help you. And the reason why we wanted to do this episode is because I get people really just nowadays, we just don't take time to appreciate as much anymore, especially because, even for us entrepreneurs, the hustle is so glorified, being super busy and working a bajillion hours a day, that is so glorified, which there's nothing wrong with hard work. But I also think that we forget that how we're spending our days is how we're spending our life, And so we just want to there's something that I just noticed, like during the holidays, like everybody's just like so happy. Like people are just so happy. Like it's a fun time. Like, and my husband was giving me crap because I put up our Christmas decorations on November 1st.
Really early.
Yes. And he's like, why? Like, why? I don't understand. And I told him, I was like, because like Christmas time to me is like just such an exciting, happy time. Maybe I want to be happy more than 25 days out of the year. So our Christmas tree is going to be up for like 60 days, not just 25. And then he was like, okay, whatever, like a happy wife, happy life. So like, if you want the Christmas tree on November 1st.
Smart man. So we came up with 5 different points that the listener can take away from this particular episode on how to live every single day like it's a holiday. And so point 1 is a point that you brought up instantly when we first started talking about what we want to cover during this episode, and the human connection, man. Yeah. It's number 1 for a reason.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on your thoughts of human connection?
Mm-hmm. Well, like I was saying, like we're definitely glorified to like really be like in hustle mode. Like that's really like the thing right now, because like the millennials, it's kind of an entrepreneur generation. Like the world is our oyster, honestly. And so because of that, it's glorified to really work hard and stuff like that. And because of social media, like we're the most connected we've ever been, but not like human connection. Like how we are designed is to crave community and crave connection with other people. And I think that that's something that really breathes life into people, especially during the holidays. Like people feel so connected because they're taking time to be with the people that are important to them and just be kinder, say hi to people on the street, or Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Just people just take time to connect with others in a way that we really don't the other 9-10 months out of the year.
Absolutely. Human connection is something that I take pride in, the fact that I'm really good at human connection 12 months out of the year, 365 days. And I think that that's what throws a lot of people off, especially, when I travel, because I like to, when someone walks by, I like to make eye contact. And well, if it's a good looking man, I make a 5-second eye contact and I don't say anything, but that's not the point. That's not the point of this episode.
That's a different kind of human.
Right. But if you happen to be a man that I'm not attracted to, or a woman, I make eye contact. Yeah. I make eye contact and I say hi. And that literally, that's where human connection starts. And you never know what the littlest thing can do. Even just a smile can help a person brighten their day. Mm-hmm. And during the holidays, we're more apt to make this human connection. And, everyone's, happy because it's not everyone. Some people, it's a really tough time. And let's acknowledge those people. And because you guys are just as important, but for a majority of people, people are a little bit happier during the holidays because, all of the things that
family comes home for the holidays, kids are home from college, you fly in to be with your family, or, you're connected.
Right. Especially to the people that don't have family or don't have a tradition that they follow during Christmas. This still applies to all of us, human connection, whether you have a huge family like your Italian family that's in Utah, or if you are someone that was born into basically a disconnected family and your biological family really isn't present. Human connection is vital to our existence. It's vital to our mental health. It's vital to our literally us working the way we're supposed to on a cellular level. Mm-hmm. If we don't have human connection, we can't be our healthiest, happiest selves. And so yes, the holidays are a time where you're more apt to smile and start a conversation or whatnot. But man, human connection. I want you, especially like I love observing people and seeing how different people react in different scenarios, i.e. social media. And when you're out and about, it's amazing to see how many people are in their phone with their heads down and in their phone. And yes, you can definitely make social connections and relationships on social media, but we're talking about the real human connection.
That's social connection versus human connection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because you can have 1 million followers and still feel isolated, still feel alone.
Absolutely. And that's definitely a struggle for, even myself. I've got a pretty decent social media following. And if I'm not purposeful in getting out and making human connection, it's very easy for me to be disconnected. And I feel it in my soul. I feel it in my mental state. I feel it when I'm not having human connection on a regular basis. That's why, I teaching my class, it's like, of course I get exercise from it and I get to booty shake, but it does so much more for me because it's that human connection that I have.
Community. Yeah,
absolutely. Absolutely. So point two, you want to tell the people point two for us?
And I think this kind of goes along with human connection, is not only just valuing human connection all the time and not just in the holidays, but also, kindness. Just being like, people are just so much more, because they're in the spirit of the holidays and it's just a fun time and it's the time of giving and stuff like that, just being kind and just being like, open the door for somebody, or like you said, say hi, or just smile at people that you don't know. Like, we're just so quick to just be moving through the motions and just not acknowledge other people, but like, every person is worth acknowledging. Every person deserves that connection and kindness from other people, especially strangers. Like, if they've never given you a reason to not be kind, like, you owe it to them as a human to be kind. Like, it's just in our DNA.
Yes. So acts of kindness would be point two. And this is where I want people to realize that you benefit as much or more as the person on the receiving end of the kindness. So this is just as much for the other person, for you, as it is for the other person. But this goes back to the freaking golden rule. And, I will always preach about the golden rule because it was, drilled into my head. You treat other people the way you want to be treated. And again, I'm not perfect. I don't always, 100% practice what I preach, but I really try to be 99%, especially on the golden rule. I grew up seeing my mom. She was a teacher. She was a kindergarten teacher. Shout out to all kindergarten teachers. Y'all are very special. Y'all are very patient people. But I saw her treating the janitor at her elementary school the same as her principal. And that is just truly being kind to every single individual, no matter what they look like, what their status is in life. Kindness really can change the world. And I know that sounds so woo-woo and cliche and utopian society, but I truly believe if every single person that just listened to this had something that reminded them to be kind to everyone, and just for when you find yourself getting frustrated, to literally step back out of the situation and put yourself in that person's shoes and really try and understand why this person either said that or did that or whatever.
Yeah. What's going on in their life to make them react that way or express themselves that way, instead of taking it personally, but trying to understand what it is that's going on in their world that makes them act the way that they do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So number one is human connection. Number two is kindness. Number three is giving and generosity. The holiday season, obviously it's full of gift giving, and there's definitely, I'm not telling you that you have to give gifts 12 months out of the year, but the whole spirit of giving is, it goes back to, you get way more from the giving process than the person receives. I don't know, it depends. Like, if you're given a free trip to Maldives, I mean, you receive a lot. I'm just saying. But truly giving, man, it's something, especially our culture in the United States. We are so me-centered, and I can't speak for other cultures. I definitely, I've lived in a few other cultures. I feel like the few other cultures I've lived in, Americans are the worst about being me. I might be giving us an unfair reputation, but I definitely think that if more of us were giving of either our time, our resources, our what we can give, because not everyone
Yeah.
can give, a trip to Maldives.
Well, yeah, it doesn't even have to be material things, but like, for
Right.
example, my mother-in-law were driving in the car the other day and we needed to turn against traffic, and we sat there and counted how many cars went past before somebody let us in. And it was like 9 cars that passed before somebody
Wow.
let us in. And like, that is giving of your time to
Yes.
be generous and stop to let some, like, because you don't know how many people are waiting. But even that is just an example. Like, it doesn't have to be material things, but just giving of your time, like just being conscious of other people and just giving to what it is that they need. It doesn't necessarily have to be material, physical gifts that are wrapped up and handed to someone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So point 4, I think, is one of the most important points, because resting and recharging it goes back to your point that you were making, the every day I'm hustling. It is so glorified in our
Yeah.
culture. And that is something that I lived in Spain for 6 months, and I just loved the European way of, a freaking siesta every day for 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the day. And, and I was like, how can they do that? But after living in that, I realized like how important it is, and how we don't place importance on that rest and recharge. I know for me, you and I both, we kind of make fun of ourselves for being grannies when it comes to going to bed early and waking up early.
Totally.
But honestly, whether you you think that we're grannies or not, we are respecting our body and our biology and giving it the rest that we were designed to get.
Trying to be mindful of my energy, because
Yes.
I know that like Cinthanie is her best self when she delegates her energy to the things that are important. And self-care is something that's really important for me in order for me to feel like I'm being the best wife I can be, the best friend that I can be, the best daughter that I can be, coach, whatever. I need to know that like I have the energy to do that. I need to be able to power down and allow myself to recharge in order to be my best self. And so self-care is not selfish.
Nope.
If I don't get enough sleep, there will be hell to pay in the whole entire household that day. So for me and everybody around me, I know that it's important that I take care of myself and that I rest and refocus.
And a lot of our listeners are moms, and granted, you're not a mom yet. And I was a stepmom for a good 6 or 7 years. So I can pseudo relate. Of course, I haven't birthed a child out of my own body and gone through the sleepless nights of the first year and whatnot. But I can relate to you on some level of the self-sacrifice that you have as a parent. And I think specifically, stereotypes are there for a reason. So shout out to all the dads that are the main parent that is selfless and giving. But
just the role as a parent.
Yes. But I think moms are way worse when it comes to comparing moms and dads to just always putting the family first and putting themselves last.
Yeah.
And then we get the wife that comes to us that literally has, not just doesn't take care of herself daily, but, has gotten to a point where it's become the norm, and they're not only not number one, but they're not number 2 or 3 or 4 in their life. They're way down the list. And so resting and recharging is the first place that you can start regaining your self-love. And during the holidays, a lot of people get time off of work. So that's the time that they get to, go to families or friends and just chill and kind of just slow down and relax. And I'm not saying that you need to just chill, Netflix and chill every day, but although that's not what I mean, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. You're not resting if you're Netflix.
Right. Right. Although that is a recharge in itself, I will just say.
But just like, don't be lazy, but just be mindful of allowing yourself time to just rest and relax and just not have an agenda. Just take a minute to just chill. Like, for example, this weekend, my husband has had 4 days off of school, which is huge for us right now. And so we haven't done anything exciting. We've just relaxed together because we can. And like, that has been recharging in itself. Like, we haven't had to go do anything crazy, but just like recharging together and just hanging out in our pajamas and watching movies. Like that has been like a great like rest and recharge for us.
Right. Listening to Christmas carols, maybe?
No, I only do that when he's not home.
I love it.
Easing him into it. I'm
Smart.
easing him into
Smart. This is y'all's first Christmas together as a married couple.
Well,
So
as a married couple, but this is like our 5th Christmas together, but like this is our first Christmas at home. Like we've always been traveling or been at like his parents or mine. So yeah.
It's exciting. It's exciting. You know, another thing a few different pointers that you can do to rest and recharge. If you haven't ever taken a yoga class, go take yoga. I'm telling you that's one of the best ways to recharge. And, you know, depending on what kind of yoga you take, you might not leave rested like the hot yoga class that I took yesterday. Literally, but do little things like that. Go get a massage. Go to TJ Maxx or your favorite Lululemon or whatever, and don't take the kids. Just be by yourself and go and just like do what recharges your batteries. And everyone is different, but
go outside, get some fresh air, spend time with your kids, whatever it is that charges you.
Exactly. But remember, it's the same concept when you're on a plane and you're hearing the flight attendants say that if we have a drop in pressure, oxygen mask will drop. You put one on you first and then put on your kids. And I just think that that's something that so many parents forget. And this is not just for parents. Obviously, I'm no longer a parent, and I have to remind myself to just freaking rest every now and then, especially since the idea of this beta group that we're in the middle of. I literally have been working nonstop, and literally I had to tell myself, okay, I'm going to go get a massage because I haven't really stopped working, and people I just need to go recharge my batteries.
Yes, it's great. But like, it has made me want to crawl under like a rock.
For real.
But it's because it's taking more energy and time, which is totally worth it. But in exchange for that, I have to make sure, and you have to make sure, that we're taking
recharge those batteries.
Recharge so that I can give of myself as much as I can. But I have to charge myself in order to give as much as I can to other people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you have to know when gas tank sign in your car. If you are getting the warning sign that you're going to be running out of gas in 25 miles, hello, that's the car telling you your car will not function completely if you don't refuel that in 25 miles, and which I'm so guilty of getting right down to like literally 5 or 10 miles every time. I'm the opposite of my mom.
No, my husband is a car guy and he will not let me. He's like, you do not let your car get lower than a quarter of a.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to start.
Especially if it's a European car. I don't know why, but he said specifically European cars.
Really? So. Dang it. Okay. All right, fine. My mom was right all these years. No, but it's, you know, the fact is, if you let it go to E, you're broken. And
you're frantic because you're worried when you're going to run out of gas.
When am I going to find a diesel place? Because not all gas stations are diesel.
Yes. If you feel like you're running around frantic in your life and you're frazzled, you probably need to arrest and recharge.
For sure. And so point 1, it's human connection. Point 2 is kindness. Point 3 is giving and generosity. Point 4 is resting and recharging. And point 5 is refocusing your freaking priorities.
Yeah. I think in the holidays, like, our priorities shift because holidays are a time of gathering and a time of like being with your people that are important to you and stuff like that. Like you'll take that day off and you won't feel guilty about it because it's the time of year to be gathering with people. But it's like, but are you willing to do that in July? Are you willing to do that in February? You know, to take time for the people that matter to you. Are you willing to do that outside of the holidays?
That's what life is about, right? I always preach that, you know, we get one life and we're not guaranteed tomorrow. And you know, this is for me specifically, if all day, every day, all you're doing is working and you're not enjoying life, because I know that speaks to so many people.
Yes.
Man, you're missing out on the whole point of it. Because once you're gone, you can't take all of that with you. And I understand, there's all different people that listen to us, financial levels of people, but, people that are constantly working to get to that next level, you just remember that you don't want to be that old person that's on their deathbed with regret. And I see that from a lot of people that spend their best years, their 20s, their 30s, their 40s. Not to say that the 50s and beyond are not good, but their prime years, if you will, just constantly working and not slowing down to just realize what's really important and really just take in the time with your loved ones and take in time with yourself too. The priorities are just, I think it's definitely a function of the world that we live in. Social media definitely has a huge part of that. Social media influences everything in our lives, which it's good and bad. But how many people can get lost in their social media platform that they're on? An hour later, all they've done is take in information and images and videos of which didn't help them get better. In fact, made them question their validity, their self-worth, their self-love. And in reality, you could have been spending that time working on you or being with your loved ones or, out in nature. And so, refocus what your priorities are. And if you're someone that is watching 4 hours of TV every day, I really want you to question yourself. Like, what does that Walking Dead do for your life? And I'm not saying you have to go quit all TV shows, but like, it amazes me how much life is wasted on a weekly basis from just sitting back and just turning your brain off and watching TV, So what are your priorities, where they are? Because your priorities are where your time is. And if most of your time is spent on, things that really don't make a difference, refocus them.
Yeah. Especially because during the holidays, like quality time is such a huge thing. Like people want to spend quality time, but like as humans, and we crave human connection, like we talked about the first point, quality time is something that is vitally important to us, like thriving in our life. Like we need that. And so in order for us to receive that necessity, we have to make time for it. We have to make it a priority.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So we hope that these 5 points can help you, not only enjoy this holiday season, but really take it to heart and take it into January and take it into February and take it into March, because ultimately the Fitz and Healthy podcast provides you so much knowledge that can truly change your life if you decide to let it. But at the end of the day, it's you that will have to act on all of this knowledge that's potential power. And we want to empower our listeners so that you really can, because life is beautiful. Life does not have to be mundane. It can be something that you literally wake up and are excited about every day. And we want to challenge the listeners that lead a life of mediocrity to realize that, it's not that's not just your place that you were born into life, that you, no matter what your past has consisted of, you have every ability to change your life and to make it an amazing, loving, wonderful, filled life that is nothing close to mediocrity. And so on that, we always leave with a message that is super important. I feel like it's always pertinent to every single message that we have. But Cinthanie, will you remind our listeners?
Yeah. And the thing is we kind of took the five things that we felt like capture the holidays and make them so magical, and ask that you implement these 5 things every day of the year, so that, because you could be living the exact same life that you always live, but with a different perspective, it can be a totally different experience.
So true.
So just take this, absorb it, and implement it, because you are a good person and you deserve good things to happen to you.
Exactly. Thank you guys so much for spending this time with us. Happy holidays, and we will see you guys next week. Ciao. Make sure that you find us on social media. You can find Cinthanie on Instagram and Facebook at Cinthanie. So that's CINTHANIE. And on Snapchat at Cinthanie P. And find me on social media platforms like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, all at Club Fitz Fitness. Remember, that's FITZ Fitness. And on Snapchat, just at Club Fitz. I appreciate your time listening so much. If you enjoyed this episode of the Fitz and Healthy podcast, can you please go do me a favor and go subscribe at whatever platform that it is that you listen to podcasts. Leave a review. We read every single review, and we appreciate the time that you take to leave your thoughts and opinions. Now, also remember, while I am a medical doctor, the information I provide here is not intended to provide medical advice or a professional diagnosis, opinion, treatment, or services to you or to any other individual. I am providing general information for educational and informational purposes only, and it is not a substitute for medical or professional care. You should not use this information in place of a visit, call, consultation, or the advice of your physician or other healthcare provider. The information I share is not intended to treat, cure, or diagnose any disease or medical condition. If you believe you have a medical emergency, just call 911 immediately or your physician. Now, enough of that medical legal jargon. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I appreciate your time. Now, go live a fit and healthy life.